Question. Is there only one allness? Is there only one pure being of God? What is the formless God? Is the formless God the impersonal aspect of the state of pure being? So this is a rather complex question in the sense that it requires you to know certain things. And in order to know those, you have to watch my video on how the world was created, because I explain many of these terms in there. So what we can basically say is, to summarize it and give a short description here, is that we live in a specific world of form. There's a tendency that people want to think that we are so important that we are either the center of the universe or this is the only world of form. But we are in a specific world of form that was created by one being, which is our creator. But there are many other worlds of form that are created by other creators. So what we can say, if we want to describe it in words, is that our creator is a specific being. And it talks about here, is there only one pure being of God, and what is the formless God? So we can say that we live in a world where everything has form. And it was created by a being, I called it the creator, and this creator is the formless God, or at least one expression of the formless God, because the creator is beyond the forms we see in this world of form. Everything here is defined by specific forms, and the creator is beyond those because the creator is the originator of it. So we can say that from our viewpoint, the creator is formless, because you can't take any of the forms we see in this world and project them onto the creator and say, this is what God is like. This is the problem with the Old Testament God, the angry old man up there in the sky who is sitting there in his throne and judging and sending those to hell who doesn't obey him. That's taking human and actually dualistic and separate characteristics and projecting it onto God, which has nothing to do with the real creator. So I generally prefer, instead of talking about the formless God, to say that God is beyond form, at least the forms that we see in this world. However, the creator is not really what you would call formless. I mean, here we get into something with the linear mind, right? Where the linear mind will say, okay, we have forms here. So something that is formless can't have any characteristics whatsoever. This is a little bit what Eastern spirituality is caught up with Brahman. Brahman is formless, undifferentiated, has no characteristics. But that's not actually the creator. The creator has what we can call an individuality. It's just, again, we can't project what we see as individuality here on earth on the creator because it's beyond that. But it is an individual being who decided to create our world of form and decided how this was going to be designed. As I said, there are many other worlds of form. They're designed in different ways. There are many different ways to do it. So our specific creator, based on his individuality, created our world of form. Now, as I also explained in the video about how the world is created, we can basically say that there are, it's difficult to put words on it, but let's say that there are two realms. There's a realm where everything has form, in other words, our world of form and other worlds of form. And then there's something beyond that, which the Ascended Masters call the Allness, and this is also mentioned in the question. Is there only one Allness? And so the Allness is something that it's beyond the world of form, but it's not actually formless either. Because there are beings in the Allness, individual presences in the Allness. But those beings are not creators. A creator has created a world of form that is evolving from a beginning state towards an ending state. But in the Allness, there is no evolution from beginning to ending. But there is still, this is where it becomes difficult with words, there's still growth. Because the Allness is, of course, not separated from the form level. form exists within the allness, and as forms are evolving, the presences in the allness are evolving. I know this sounds very vague, very abstract. I don't claim I understand it fully, but I understand or experience enough of it that it's very difficult to put words on it, especially with the linear mind. So what I would say to this question is, if you are trying to understand this with a linear mind, you might as well forget it, because you cannot pinpoint this with a linear mind. So is there only one allness? Well, in a sense you could say there is nothing but the allness. So it's really meaningless to talk about, is there one as opposed to more than one? The words just become meaningless. The concepts that the linear mind operates with become meaningless. Is there only one pure being of God? Well, the pure being of God can be said to be, at some level, the creator who is beyond the forms that it has created. But on another level can be said to be the allness, where there is no evolution from a beginning state to an ending state. But it's again this, how can we use words to describe this? How can we put words on it? Is the formless God the impersonal aspect of the state of pure being? I would say, again, words are almost meaningless. Pure being, how can it be personal or impersonal? It's just being. And the concept pure being, it again needs to be seen. And I think maybe this is a way to approach it. What I've said before is that we are living in an unascended sphere, where we have a limited view of how the entire world works, because there's the ascended realm that's beyond ours. And we can't fully grasp what the ascended realm is like. We will when we ascend, but we can't from our viewpoint. So the ascended masters, who are assigned to be our spiritual teachers, they're giving us certain concepts, but they are limited by our understanding, by our grasp, especially by the linear mind, in what they can give us. So they are trying to give us words that can hint at what is beyond the world of form, to help us realize there's something beyond. But they can't even describe it fully with words. So what I would say is that, again, if you're trying to understand this linearly, you're only going to get yourself into confusion, because you're going to come up with all of these things that sound contradictory. What you can do is you can strive to go into this neutral state of mind and open yourself to an intuitive experience of it. I have mentioned it before that many years ago, back in the mid-1990s, I had this experience where I was taken to what I saw at the time as the highest level of our world of form, which is a specific retreat by the Ascended Masters called Alpha and Omega. And then I saw beyond that level to what I could conceive of as the Creator. And the Creator had no form that I could describe, neither with images nor with words. It would be completely meaningless to try and put words on it. But nevertheless, it was extremely meaningful for me to have the experience, because I experienced there's something beyond this world of form. And I am out of that, and so is the entire world of form, and of course every other being. And that was valuable for me to have that experience, but not in the linear mind, more as I experienced an alternative to the linear mind. So, if you open yourself to that, and if it's part of your life plan, it's possible you can have a similar experience, and it can be valuable to you. But if you think that it's going to happen through the linear mind, you'll be able to understand all these concepts, you will just get yourself deeper and deeper into confusion. I've done it myself, because I've had years where I try to understand everything. And sometimes you just get yourself into a blind alley where you realize that, you can do one or two things there. You can get yourself into confusion, and you can predict, oh, this is all nonsense. All this talk about spirituality or ascended masters or worlds beyond, it's just all nonsense. You rebel against it. Or you can say, maybe it's my mind that's limited. Maybe this can't be grasped by the linear mind. Maybe it can only be experienced intuitively. And if you take that approach, then you don't go into a blind alley. You do that if you rebel against everything. You're putting yourself in a blind alley, catch-22. But if you take the intuitive, you open yourself up, you could have higher and higher intuitive experiences where it's no longer important to you to explain everything with a linear mind. Because the experience is enough in itself. The experience is beyond and more valuable than anything you can get in the linear mind. I hope this makes sense to some people, and that you can see that when it comes to some of these very, very subtle concepts, words are inherently limited, but even the linear mind that always wants to think in terms of opposites or progression or this or that, it just can't cope with it. That you, as the conscious you can experience it, but you can't put words or concepts on it afterwards, because then you take yourself away from the experience.